Hi guys, to another episode of Dimitra's Dishes. Today we're making individual baklava triangles. These are the perfect dessert if you're entertaining. You can make them ahead of time, freeze them, bake them off, and then pour the delicious aromatic syrup on top and serve them to your guests. You can also make them ahead of time and just bake as many as you think you're gonna need for tea time or coffee time or whatever you enjoy. Let's get started. Okay, so as with every syrupy dessert, we begin with making the syrup because the syrup needs to cool down so it can be poured on the hot pastry once it comes out of the oven. One thing needs to be hot, the other thing needs to be cold. That's so that way it's absorbed evenly and also that the pastry stays crispy, which is very important. So I'm gonna add 1.5 cups of granulated sugar to a small saucepan, 1.5 cups of water, a cinnamon stick. I'll even use a cinnamon stick to stir. And we're gonna bring this to a boil. Once it comes to the boil, the sugar should have dissolved. We're also gonna stir it a little bit in between so that way the sugar doesn't stick to the bottom of the pan and burn. Then we're gonna take it off of the heat and stir in a teaspoon of pure vanilla extract, set it aside to cool, and then the syrup will be done. So while the syrup was cooking, I unwrapped 3 sticks of butter, which is 12 ounces of butter, and then I put them in a little saucepan in the back burner. I'm waiting for them to melt. While that happens, we're gonna get the filling, the nut filling ready, which is really simple. So I have a cup of ground walnuts here. I also need a cup of toasted ground almonds. You could do any combination of nuts that you like. So you can use pecans, pistachios, macadamias, whatever you like. Then I'm gonna flavor it with 2 heaping teaspoons of ground cinnamon. I love cinnamon, so I always go heavy on it. And 1/2 teaspoon of ground cloves. That's the classic Greek baklava flavor combination. And then just mix it all up. You can zest an orange and put the orange zest in here. You can put some dried fruit in here, some chocolate chips. We're going for the classic combination today, but there are so many ways to make this. So the nut mixture is ready. The butter has also melted. Let me just give it a nice mix. This is unsalted butter. So now I have a pound of phyllo that's been thawed out overnight. This particular brand, which I threw away the box, so I don't even have the box to show you, packages the phyllo in 2 small packs like this. So I always like to leave the phyllo in its packaging until it's just about time to use it. This is gonna ensure that the phyllo is not gonna start breaking up on you or crumbling or dry out. So then just take it out of its packaging. It takes about an hour at room temperature for it to thaw out if you've had it in the fridge. So once you bring it home and it's frozen, you're gonna wanna put it in the refrigerator overnight to thaw out and then leave it at room temperature. So we're gonna cut each one of these into 3 equal portions. So if you have one that's longer than this, you're looking at 3-inch portions. So this one is 9 inches. So we're gonna have 3 portions. I don't know how long yours is gonna be. Each company packages their phyllo differently, but they should be 3 inches. And I'm gonna work with 1 portion at a time, and I'm gonna leave the rest in their packaging. So I have a baking tray that's been lined with parchment paper, and it's ready to go. I'm gonna create a little workstation over here, a little assembly line. So we're gonna take 1 layer at a time, and I'm gonna drizzle some butter on it. Sometimes they're stuck together. If they're stuck together, don't even bother trying to separate them. Just put the 2 stuck together ones together. So we're gonna do 3 layers at a time. Sometimes it might be 4 if they're stuck together. Don't worry about it. And just drizzle some butter on each layer. Then I'm gonna take about 1.5 teaspoons, 2 teaspoons. I like to go a little bit heavier on the filling, and we're gonna fold it up flag style, just like we do spanakopita and tiropita. And if some of the filling comes out, you can try to stick it back in there, but don't worry about it too much. You want these to be nice and small, the perfect serving size. Just like that. And then go ahead and put them on the tray. And I'm gonna keep going. This one kind of tore a little bit. And these 2 are stuck together. So like I said, I'm not gonna even try to separate them because then the whole thing will tear on me. Forgot to put the butter. So I'm going to continue forming these triangles. This makes a really big batch. And once they're done, they're going to go in the oven. So make sure that the oven is preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So I ended up taking out another little tray, a quarter sheet baking tray, so that way we can finish them off. This recipe makes about 37 triangles, so it does feed a crowd. At this point, you could either wrap them with plastic wrap and put them in the freezer and then bake them off as you need them. Or if you're gonna use them all within the next few days, go ahead and put them in a preheated 350 degree oven, bake them on the center rack for about 25 minutes or until they're nice and golden. As soon as they come out of the oven, you're gonna pour the cooled syrup over top, and then the hardest part is waiting for the syrup to be absorbed and for them to cool down, which should take about an hour or so. In the meantime, I'm just gonna clean up. There are a few nuts left over. I'm gonna put them in a little Ziploc bag and store them in, I'm also gonna label, because lots of times I don't remember what's in it, so I'm gonna put baklava mix, label the bag with baklava mix, put it in the freezer, and it'll stay fresh for about a month or so until I need it again. And I'm just gonna clean up a little bit until everything is ready. It took exactly 25 minutes for these to reach the perfect golden color. They just came out the oven, and do you hear that sound, that sizzle? That is what you wanna hear. I'm just gonna pour the syrup over these and over the small tray. And that's it, now we wait. It's gonna take about an hour for the syrup to be absorbed, and then we're gonna do the taste test. So an hour has passed, and I made some Greek coffee. I did flip some of them over so that way they can get some of the syrup absorbed in them as well. It's best if you can get them all to fit in one tray, if that's possible. Maybe make 3 rows instead of 2 of the squares that I've created. That probably doesn't make sense, but anyway, if you can't get them all on one tray, get as many as you can on there so that way most of the syrup stays in one tray instead of distributing it in both, because I do like mine extra syrupy. It is time to do the taste test, and Layla, her taste test, she came running, so I'm gonna have her taste it first. It's good. So kids approve. When kids approve, you know it's good. Let's make sure it's good. So decadent. The phyllo is crisp and buttery. The filling is so nice and aromatic with all those spices, the cinnamon and the clove just make it taste so good. The nuts are my favorite. The almond and walnut combination, I just love it, but you can use your favorite if you want. Make yourself some Greek coffee. Get the recipe on dimitrasdishes.com. Thank you guys so much for spending time with me today. I'll see you all next time. Yes, Ess?
Bye.